with our defensive coordinator, Peter Sirmon. Go ahead and, if you do have questions, put them in the chat. We'll go ahead and get started with Trace Travers from Rivals.
Yeah, Coach, good to see you. Shaved all the facial hair.
Yeah, it's a big day getting back on Zoom. It's a big day when the guys get back on the field, but it's also a big deal for me when I get the opportunity to get back on the circuit of Zooms.
Good times. Good times. I wanted to ask about something Coach Wilcox talked about yesterday. You guys moved Trey Pastner down to inside linebacker. What was kind of the impetus for that move, and how has he been in your position room now?
Well, I think the inside linebacker room is the most enjoyable room to play football in at Cal Bears football. So it's a good move. What we're trying to do with Trey, and really all the inside linebackers, we feel like we have a really good group of guys that are pretty talented in terms of some movement skills. We really like our size. We've been pretty disciplined with kind of the stature in which we've tried to attract here. And Trey is a big athletic player, and we think it's an opportunity for him to get a little closer to the line of scrimmage and continue to develop in that role. And he's doing well in the first couple practices. There's always a transition as you get closer to the football. Things happen a lot faster. So those are things that he's working on, but he's been very good in the meeting rooms, and he's been good in terms of learning on the practice field.
Yeah, and with that, from some of the stuff that your social media guys have put out, it looks like Coyne is playing some outside linebacker for you guys this year. Is that going to be more of a temporary thing? Is it just because it's the spring where you can move guys around like that, or how is that going?
We're going to explore probably a couple different options with Coyne. Coyne, he has a really good understanding of the experience of playing that inside linebacker spot. And then we're going to continue to develop him at that outside linebacker spot. We'd like to have him play potentially both positions if possible. His body type lends to be a very tough block on the outside part of the field. So during spring, he'll be taking a majority of reps of the outside linebacker position.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to Jim McGill, Bear Insider.
Yeah, Peter, can you talk a little bit about how it's been working with Coach Hayward with the transition, and if responsibilities are going to change at all, or if they're going to stay the same as it was with Coach DeRuiter and you?
Keith and I have a long history together, being at a couple different stops. Keith is a very, very, I think a very important addition to what we're doing here. He's, first of all, a quality person. He's a fantastic football coach. He is going to help us improve recruiting with connections to the players. So we're very fortunate to have Keith in any capacity. Right now, he's coaching the outside linebackers with Tim moving on. Keith can probably coach a lot of positions. He can coach outside linebackers. He can coach, obviously, in the entire secondary. So right now, I think when we looked at the position and the opportunity to attract Keith, it's all about bringing great people into the staff. And I think Coach Wilcox has done a really good job of almost identifying it as players. Let's find the best people or the best players we can bring into the program, and let's make room, and let's be creative with how we can use people.
And has there been any other linebacker movement? And can you describe where Coyne would be playing on the outside when he is on the outside, opposite Cam or same side?
Those are things yet to be determined. We as you watched us in the years past, there's been a lot of different packages. Coyne playing some outside linebacker was not something that's never happened. You go back and watch the Stanford game; he played outside linebacker. So this isn't, a monumental shift for him. He's going to spend his emphasis playing out there in the spring. But as we wrap up spring and continue to evaluate the roster, we know there's a lot of position flexibility with him, and we want to continue to get some of the less experienced linebackers more reps, and we'll continue to do that.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to David Bush with Bear Insider.
After two practices, I know it's a small sample size, but what have you liked so far that you've seen from the defense?
What we're looking for, really, when I go out there, it's what's the what's the culture, what's the attitude, what's the energy. I think that is very indicative of where the program's at. We have a group of older players that have come back as our super seniors. They are not practicing like super seniors. They're practicing like they're young, energetic, eager, and that's where, as a coordinator, I like to see everybody excited, everybody taking the coaching. Right now we got a pretty good DB coach back there, so I expect him to get all those young DBs right. I'll continue to be hard on them. We have a certain standard of playing DB back here, so I hope we can play up to that standard or coach up to that standard.
Be careful with the DB coach. He's got a long memory. Just one other thing, the defensive line is in the last couple of years has really, you've been thin in personnel. What's it looking like now?
I think talking to AB today, I think we had about 9 guys in the rotation, 9 or 10. That's a position that we will continually try to recruit in attracting, walk-ons at that position is something we also want to continue to try to do. There's so many different levels of that defensive line position that we need. We need obviously for games, but practice, development, to be able to continue to have really productive practices. I think Coach Wilcox was mentioning the number of players we have on our roster. There are certain positions, though, that might not be at the 3.5 or 4 deep. So we need to make sure that we can try to populate those positions so everybody gets reps in team periods, and we don't have certain positions that are a little bit thin. So we need to stay healthy on the defensive line, and we need to get our numbers up.
Thanks.
Okay, looks like we have a question from Jake Curtis with Cal Sports Report.
Yeah, with Coyne maybe playing more on the edge and Cam Good perhaps playing more of that star position, will that enhance their pro possibilities as well?
What I've learned, Jake, about the pro possibilities is everybody's looking for something else. What guys want to see is the ability to play multiple positions, and then I think it makes it a better evaluation for the NFL organizations of, I've seen him play an edge, I've seen him drop in space, I've seen him play in cover. So the more that the guys can do that minimize the uncertainty of their skills, I think attracts a greater number of NFL teams to feel confident in their selections.
Okay, Trace Travers from Rivals.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the DB coach. Do you get to be his boss for the day, or how does that work for you?
No, I'm being a little funny here on this Zoom, but I wouldn't be doing this if he was sitting in the room. It's great to have Justin with us. It really is, because what it forces you to do, it forces you to get better with your language and your coaching progression. He has a different perspective on our defense because he's not in the room every single day. So I think it's an easier opportunity of, hey, poking not some holes in things, but how can we coach this better? And then for him to be the day-to-day with the players, they get to ask him questions. And if things aren't as concise and as clean as he wants it for our defense, he's challenging us to instruct things better. So it's been actually very healthy for us because it does make us all better.
Gotcha. And how do you feel about the defensive back room? You said some positions don't have the kind of numbers that you'd like, but that's a position that has, a ton of numbers with the 2 super seniors and a couple of kids coming in early as well.
Yeah, we feel good about our numbers in the back end. Like you said, with Josh and Eliza Chiggy with significant playing time, Daniel Scott, Craig Woodson, those are guys that, we understand what they are and they're continuing to develop. But I think we've done a nice job of bringing in young guys. Colin Gamble is a player that we need to improve, and he's shown some signs of being a playmaker. So those are opportunities to get all those young guys in. And the more reps we can get in spring, the more they can develop, the more they can get comfortable. I think we'll be able to have a better understanding of, can we play with 5? Can we play with 6? Who's the first DB in? Is it the first corner or is it the first nickel? And then be able to have better depth, better special teams, and better production late in the year.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask about that depth in general, because you guys played maybe 14 or 15 guys on defense for some of the games during the year last year. Do you feel like with the more practice time, you can expand that rotation a little further?
Yes, we will. The limited, I think a couple barriers we ran into was limited training camp. We did not put a lot of defense in. And then obviously some of the COVID restrictions kind of banged on us. So we were pretty limited with some of our packages. And then the guys that were playing for us, they stayed healthy, you know, in the back end, the guys that they stayed healthy and we weren't prepared, you know, in some of those close games, every play, every possession counts. There wasn't really a great opportunity to get those guys in and let them cut their teeth.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, guys, does anybody have a final question for Coach Sirmon? Okay, we'll catch you in about another